Welcome to today's Mindset Monday. We have a very special episode today because I'm going to be doing something a little bit more unusual, something that you will find to be extremely helpful to you, but something that most of us don't do when we're doing these videos or we're doing these podcast episodes. So, I want to say right off the bat that if you are someone that is used to listening to the Mindset Monday information on the podcast, I'm going to try my best to describe what I'm showing visually. However, if you really want to see what I'm going to be sharing in today's episode that is going to change the game for you, then you need to pop over to either YouTube or LinkedIn, preferably YouTube because I organize everything in a playlist. Pop over to YouTube so that you can actually watch the replay of this video. And what I'm going to be doing today is not only telling you what great leaders do well, I'm going to show you because I'm going to give you a behind the scenes to one of the tools that I've created for myself and for my clients that helps them to elevate their life so that they're experiencing greatness, not only in their professional life, but also in their personal life. You deserve to have the life that you want in all areas, live a well rounded life. Before I move any further, I do have the fan on, so you're going to see stuff blowing in the background, but you also may hear errant noise here and there. Just ignore that. I don't want to turn the air conditioning on. So what I'm going to do is give you a behind the scenes into how I make sure that I am on my pathway to success that I've created for myself. And then I'm going to also give you the elements that you can learn to do it for yourself. So the first thing that you need to understand when I'm showing you the behind the scenes of this little packet that I have in my hand that I look at every day, multiple times a day, is that the background to this packet is if you do not know who you are, if you do not know what it is that you want out of life, then you're going to find that you are going to pick things in your life to go after. And a lot of times you'll get there and you'll be like, is that it? Or you'll get there and it won't really be what you want. And so the message behind this packet is that I have done a lot of inner work to get very clear on what it is that I want to see materialize in my life. And that is through a lot of internal work and as well as some of the things that I want to experience externally. What I find holds people back the most in their life is not that you don't know how to hit your goal, especially here in this on this channel. You probably have finished school and done a lot of amazing things in your life when you put your mind to it. But the problem is you've lost sight of who it is that you truly are. You're living your life for society or your upbringing, or maybe you really did like the things that you went after, but at the end of the day, being a wife or a husband or a mother or a daughter or a leader and all of that stuff has pulled you away from maintaining that connection to who you are. And until you restore that, you're going to find that a lot of things that you do are empty. So, what I get very clear on for myself and for my clients is doing the work to get back to us. And us changes, right? There's different seasons in our life. So, in the particular season that they come to work with me, who are they? What are their values? What is important to them? And once we get clarity on that, then they can start to develop their own version of what I'm going to share with you today in this episode. So, the first thing that I wanted to share with you is a habit tracker. We've all seen a habit tracker before. Some of you probably fill out a habit tracker. But what I want to ask you is when you are looking at a habit tracker and trying to figure out what habits you want to accomplish, especially if you're someone who fills out a habit tracker and you never follow through with it, or you fill out a habit tracker and the things that are on it are so easy, you don't see this exponential change in your life, or you don't see a change in your life over time. So you have to be very intentional about the things that you want to put in your habit tracker. You know what? So first off, I'm going to start with the goals. So every year I have these overarching goals that I want to accomplish. So the first part of my packet is a yearly goals paper. Normally, I don't create a word of the year, but this year I did create a word of the year. My word of the year for this year is intensity. And intensity is something that I am passionate about for myself and in my life because I've accomplished some phenomenal life changing things in my life. And I want to take that to the next level. And for me, that requires intensity. And if you want to know how I picked my word of the year. Again, it's not just some thing that I put out of the air. I really sat down and thought with it. I did a podcast episode on that so that you could understand the mindset that people like me use, even when we're picking a word of the year. So my word of the year was intensity. And through that intensity, I've come up with 4 goals that I want to have happen for the year. My goals are well rounded. Again, I know who I am. I know where I want to go. I have a lot of clarity around that. I have clarity around how I want to grow my connection to myself, my connection to God. I have clarity on what I want to do with my business, with these things that I share with you, these multiple channels within the leading in healthcare platform. I have clarity on how I want to progress the relationships that are important to me in my life, first and foremost with Greg, of course, but then also with the friends and family that matter to me the most. And then my other goal, um, it's yeah, those are the 4. It's just business, my relationship with Greg, my friends and family, and then my connection to myself and my connection to God. So those are the 4 goals that I have, the 4 areas of the goals that I have created for myself. And within those 4 categories, I have specific things that I want to realize by the end of 2023. So this is where it gets interesting. I've done the inner work. I know exactly who I am and what direction I want to go in. I have some very big, audacious goals that I want to accomplish by 2023. Because guess what? If you're putting down things that you know you can accomplish or that are easy or that don't stretch you, then basically all you have is a to do list that's not a goal. So, goals should stretch you and should have you elevate who you are from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. You should see a clear progression of growth, expansion, and evolution. So these goals are not ones that are to-do list type things like, oh, I'm going to drink 5 glasses of water every day. No, these are really deep, intentional goals that are going to grow me as a person, me and my relationships, and me and my business. I inherently have fitness goals and things as well, but the 4 main things that if I focus on these 4 things, everything else would be on point. Those are my goals. Okay, so now that I know where it is that I'm headed for 2023, then what you need to realize is that if you're just filling out a habit tracker about water, working out, um, staying off social media, all what I don't know, whatever you put on this list, and it has nothing to do with the 4 goals that you have wanted to accomplish for yourself, then you're not doing the right things. So while you could be feeling like you're busy and feeling like you should be moving forward, you have to look at the actions that you take on a daily basis and if those actions funnel into what it is that you want to accomplish. So if you look on my habit tracker, which I update every month, what you're going to see is that a lot of the things that I'm doing on a day-to-day basis are designed to help me to accomplish my goals at the end of the year. So I'll give you some examples of how my things tie in together. So for instance, for the goals that I have for my business, there are a few things that I want to do in order to grow my business to the level that I want it to grow. And that's connecting with people that are going to benefit, people like you that will benefit from the work that I do, and engaging and building relationships and networking and speaking with organizations that I know that the Lynn Group could come in and do some phenomenal things with, and have speaking engagements already set up. And I continue to put that on my habit tracker to make sure that I intentionally make space in my day to do the things that I need to do to actually make that goal come to fruition. So that's something that goes into business. Secondarily, my marriage with Greg. I want that to stay the way it is and to continue to grow. So one of the things that I need to do on a day-to-day basis that is on my habit tracker is to make sure that I'm building time in my day to connect with him. um, because I want to be very intentional and very focused and intense, not in a scary way. Go listen to the podcast if you don't understand what I mean when I say intensity, but I want to be very focused and intentional about that. So my connection to myself and my connection to God, I have making sure I am doing gratitude, making sure I look at my goals every day. My connection to myself is on a mind, body, and soul level. So I have things around being active, taking my supplements, using my face tools. You know, we buy all of these things like New Face and Gua Sha and all these things, and we never use them. So I have a lot of things around that. Visualization, meditation, mindset work, um, that type of thing. Making sure that I eat in a specific way that I want to eat that's going to make me feel better. This is on my habit tracker. And then with friends and family, I make sure to also, within this, build time to connect with my friends and my family. The beauty of this then is if you have your stuff on your habit tracker and you check in with yourself, I would say weekly, but no less than monthly, then what you're going to have is a visual representation of the actual work that you're doing to move your goals forward. And if you look at your tracker and you see that you're doing everything that you need to do, at least I would say 80% of the time is what I tell my clients. 80% of the time, you are hitting these intentional habits that you have created for yourself, then you should be moving towards your goals and you can continue to move forward as needed. So all the happy faces, all the X's, check marks, whatever, it means you're moving in the right direction. You're going to see this incremental or very substantial progress. If you look at this habit tracker and you are looking at your life in conjunction and you're like, hey, I feel like I'm doing all the things, I feel like I'm tired and all blah 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 blah, and I don't feel like I'm hitting my goals, but you look at this habit tracker and it's pretty much empty or you're less than 80%, that could be a big indicator as to why you're not getting what it is that you want to get done. If you're not meeting that 80% goal, then it's probably a lack of consistency that's getting you to your goal. Your lack of consistency that's stopping you from getting toward your goal. And then lastly, the way you can use this, let's say you marked everything off, you've been on point, you haven't skipped any days, you've gotten 80% or above on the tracker that you've created for yourself, and you know for a fact that the habits that you picked funnel back into your goals, but you don't feel like you're making progress, then you know that the answer is to really do some reflection on your goal or on the habits versus the goal and see what it is that you need to change. Um, I'll give you, uh, I'm trying to think of an example where, like for instance, I used to have on my tracker to have a beauty routine or AM PM skin routine. Although that's going to help to make me better, it has really nothing to do with my goals other than holistically taking care of myself. But that was already something that I had ingrained in myself anyway. So there was no need for me to put that on my habit tracker and find space for it. So I actually took that off and put something that was going to give me more bang for my buck. So, you know, you just play around with this. So I have my goals in my packet, and I have my habit tracker. And then something else that's very big for me is having a routine that puts me in an energetic state where I am at my best. Remember, that's part of my goal. So for you, it's going to be different. And so what I do with my clients is present them with a bunch of different options and then help them to develop a routine for success that's going to work for them. So for you, you may find success in feeling good, showing up as your best self through the way that you dress or the way that you are, personal development, reading, or what have you. Whereas for me, what makes me feel my best is filling my cup up, reading, having slow morning time, that type of thing. But at the bottom line is that what you should be doing is figuring out how you can space that energy through the day. So you don't just start the day off well and then the rest of the, what, 12, 16 hours you fall off. You want to learn how to develop a routine for success that's actually going to keep your energy up throughout the day, keep you in a good place, in your best self, centered, no matter what's going on throughout the day. Not saying that you're not human and things happen, but the overarching trend should be that you your goal is to show up as your best self, because that's when magic happens in your life. And so another checklist that I have in my packet has to do with some of the things that I've intentionally decided to do to put me in that state. And I've already shared some of those with you, which is gratitude is one, meditation is another one. But you're going to make that work for you. And again, if you want help with that, then that's the perfect time to I'll leave information on how you can learn to work with me and learn how to do this for yourself. Okay, so then the third part of my packet is that's the fourth part. The fourth part of my packet is twofold. It is a combination of goals. So like, I know where I am at the beginning of 2023, but I wanted to paint the picture of where I would be at the end of 2023. So I kind of have this narrative all laid out on who I am when I look at myself at the end of the year. What do I look like? And I was specific, but you don't have to be. But I think the specificity helps you paint the picture, which helps the visualization, which has been proven to help you bring it into existence. So I have notes on the way that I look, the way that I groom myself, my style, my expertise, the relationships that I have, the mannerisms that I have, like all of the things that I want to accomplish, and the way that I see myself if I was looking across or looking up on a stage at my December 31st, 2023 person, and what is it that that woman is exuding. I have that written down in a narrative, and I read that usually at least once a day, ideally twice a day. And along with that, because I now have this clear picture on what my goals are, what my habits are, what my success routine is in the morning, and to keep that energy going through the day, what I want to look like at the end of the year, who I want to be at the end of the year, and what specifically that looks like, then I also have affirmations that I've created specifically for myself that I have typed out that I read through just as an affirmation for the direction that I'm going in. And if you want me to do a video about how affirmations work and how I do my affirmations, let me know, and I'll do that separately. So basically, that's what I have in my packet. The other thing that I wanted to add about these affirmations is I also have recorded myself stating these affirmations, and I have been known to listen to those affirmations throughout the day, or if I'm feeling low, or right before I go to bed, that type of thing. So those are just some of the hacks that I also use and teach my clients to use. Specifically, if they want to do some deep changes, there's some subconscious reprogramming that you can do if you find that trying to change on your own is hard, around how you can use these affirmations in different ways. And then I have this thing that I actually got from Quasi on YouTube, which is, I don't want to, it's from a paid program, so I don't want to like give this information away, but worked to just kind of have a code of ethics for your life. And it's the same thing that I teach my clients how to do in a different way, because I think men have very good containers around how to get things accomplished, but I think women do things a little bit more well-rounded and flowy. And so I wish that men carried over to women sometimes. And sometimes I think women can adapt some of the more masculine ways that men come across. And not to say masculinity or femininity is tied to gender or whatever, but I'm just saying the overarching stereotypes. So that is what I have in my packet. My goals, my habit tracker, which includes the success routine, the narrative of how I see myself at the end of the year that is very vividly painted, like I wrote a book about myself, with how my future self looks at the end of the year, along with some affirmations that match all of the things that are in the packet. One thing that I'm going to add to my packet is a vision board. I use a big vision board, the kind that you put on a poster board. Greg and I have done that multiple times. And it's really cool when we do that because we find that the things we put on our board are very aligned, and the things that we put on our board that are the same, they manifest very quickly. So I do have a big poster board, but I also want to make a smaller version where I can kind of carry it with me in this packet. Now, the theme of what great leaders actually do well is not to tell you I set goals and then I make sure my habits funnel into my goals and I know my values and all the things. Is to show you that a lot of the things that we do behind the scenes are very intentional. They're very thought out. They're very deliberate. We're not wasting a lot of time and energy on things that don't funnel into the things that matter to us. All the things that we do have something about them that is connected to our heart and our soul. So we feel like we have more of a sense of purpose around the things that we want and the things that we do. And because of those things, and also intentionally making sure that we pay attention to our energetic self and showing up as our best self, showing up as that future person, even though we're not there yet. These are all the things that we combine in order to actually create the success in our relationships, in our health, in our careers, in our all of the things. And so that's the overarching message that I want to leave you with on today's episode of Mindset Monday on what great leaders actually do well. Now, if you are listening to me and this sounds amazing and you feel like you need more clarity on yourself, coming back to yourself, reconnecting with yourself, you need more structure on how it is that you can develop a system like this for your life so that it is you can see that it's inherently successful. I don't have to do a lot of thinking about how I need to achieve my goals other than maybe once a month tweaks and then that beginning of the year goal setting type of activity. If you want help with this, if you want guidance, and then you want that accountability that's going to help keep you on track until you are through that hard hump that we all have to go through in order to make these changes more lasting and more permanent, then I want you to look in the description box of wherever you're watching this video, because I have some information about how you and I can have a conversation to see if something like this, working with me one-on-one, is going to be beneficial for you in your life, beneficial for you in your career, beneficial for you in your mindset, beneficial for elevating you to that next level that you want to be at in a more strategic but easy and flowy way. So you're not wasting a lot of energy, but still getting the maximum impact. All right. So until next Mindset Monday, I will